Hello and welcome to the VOP News Update. I'm Moses Humphrey. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana SAN, has requested the coroner's inquest into the death of the late Nigerian singer Mohbad. The request was contained in a letter to the Chief Coroner, High Court of Lagos State on Monday. The letter, signed by his daughter Femi Falana, described the singer's death as very tragic and mysterious. Sharing the letter through her Instagram account, Falana stated that Mohbad's death stings because despite the fact that he wasn't on his radar and he never met him or knew him personally, he heard he was trying to leave his label. Kano State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has fixed today, September 20, to deliver judgment in the case filed by the All Progressives Congress (APC) against Abba Yusuf, governor of the state. The tribunal announced the date in a hearing issued to parties in the suit on Monday. Yusuf, the candidate of the New Nigeria People's Party (NNPP), was declared the winner of the March 11 governorship poll. Not satisfied with the outcome of the election, Ganawa and his party filed a petition to challenge Yusuf's victory. There has been tension in the state since the tribunal reserved judgment, as members of the NNPP have organized prayers to ask God for help. In August, Flora Azinge, chairperson of the Election Petitions Tribunal in Kano, raised the alarm over an alleged attempt by some lawyers to compromise the integrity of judges on her panel. The Trade Union Congress has urged the federal government to hasten its plan to provide palliatives for federal government workers following the removal of the subsidy on premium motor spirit. The TUC also noted that workers were getting more impatient due to hardship occasioned by the removal of subsidy. The TUC president Festus Osifo stated this during a meeting with the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, yesterday in Abuja. The meeting was a follow-up to the September 4 meeting called on the instance of the minister to address the demands of organized labor. Osifo stated that workers were facing enormous pressure that are making life very difficult, which makes the leadership of TUC have sleepless nights. Lalong noted that he called the meeting to brief the leadership of the TUC on the efforts made by the federal government to address their grievances. He appealed to the TUC to exercise more patience, explaining that before the president left for the United Nations General Assembly in New York, he was fully briefed and gave further directives on the implementation of issues put before him, particularly when he met with the labor leaders. A federal high court in Abuja has dismissed a suit filed by Adamu Bulkachua seeking to stop the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission (ICPC) from probing him. ICPC commenced an investigation on the senator over the comment he made during the valedictory session of the 9th National Assembly. In a judgment yesterday, the presiding judge, Inyangekwo, held that the suit lacked merit and ought to be dismissed. Bulkachua, while speaking at the Senate valedictory session in June, said he often encroached on his wife's space while she was in office. Bulkachua's wife, Zainab, is a former president of the Court of Appeal and the first female to hold the position. Following this, the ICPC then commenced an investigation and invited the former senator for questioning. Nevertheless, Justice Ekwo, in his judgment, dismissed Bulkachua's claim of legislative immunity. The judge held that Bulkachua's statement amounts to a confessional one and is not covered by Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution. In business now, Nigeria has witnessed another round of widespread blackout across the country yesterday as a national power grid collapsed again, making it the third grid collapse in about 5 days. Power generation on the grid crashed from a peak of 3,594.60 megawatts at midnight to 42.7 megawatts by midday yesterday. It was observed that at noon, only the Delta power plant was operational on the grid. contributing 41 megawatts, while AFAM generated 1.7 megawatts. On Friday, it was reported that the federal government had explained that the nationwide blackout witnessed the preceding day, being Thursday last week, was due to a fire incident and an explosion on the Kanji Jeba 330 kV line 2. Power consumers, however, kicked against the never-ending excuses of government as regards power generation and the supply in Nigeria, despite privatizing the generation and distribution arms of the sector since November 2013. In foreign news, Israeli military operations in the occupied West Bank and unrest in the Gaza Strip have killed 6 Palestinians in the latest spike in a wave of violence that has rolled the region for more than a year. The death toll from the most recent flare-up stood at 4 late last night. But today, the Palestinian Health Ministry raised it, saying an Israeli raid into the Jenin refugee camp in the northern West Bank killed 4 persons and wounded some 30 others, while a raid in a separate refugee camp killed another Palestinian. The 6th Palestinian was killed by Israeli fire in unrest in the Gaza Strip. The deadly violence between Israel and the Palestinians over the last year and a half has surged to levels unseen in the West Bank in some 2 decades. Israel has stepped up its raids on Palestinian areas, and Palestinian attacks against Israelis have been mounting. Tensions also appear to be spreading to Gaza. There was no immediate comment from the Israeli military about the raid in the Aqabat Jabri refugee camp near the Palestinian city of Jericho, which has emerged as one of the focal points of Israel's raids. The bloodshed in the Jenin camp hours earlier was the latest in the stronghold of Palestinian militants, where the Israeli military often carries out deadly raids. At least 31 people have been killed in Palestinian attacks against Israelis since the beginning of 2023. And that's the news update on VOP TV. We'd like you to subscribe and engage us on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV. And on other social media channels, we are at VOP TV Live. I'm Moses Humphrey. Good morning.